Hi, and welcome to the Homeopathy Health Show here on the UK Health Radio Network. I'm Atiq.
And I'm Naila.
We're both professional registered homeopaths, and between us have over 25 years of professional practice in this field of healing.
The Homeopathy Health Show is the voice of homeopathy on radio and podcasts around the world, promoting and raising awareness of this truly unique system of healing and healthcare, which is suitable for all ages, young and old.
Every week, we invite guests from the world of homeopathy to come and share their experiences, their work, offer insights, and essentially talk all things homeopathy.
Visit www.ukhealthradio.com to listen now. To find out more about us, you can visit us at www.homeopathyinpractice.co.uk. And whilst you are there, do subscribe to our newsletter.
Be inspired
and join the conversation.
So let's begin today's show here on the UK Health Radio Network, the world's #1 talk health radio.
Real feel-good radio.
Hi, and welcome to a very special episode of the Homeopathy Health Show, the world's #1 award-winning radio talk show on homeopathy. And by the way, if that wasn't enough, it's also the top 5% of global podcasts. So there's something to celebrate, isn't it? Woohoo! And if that was not enough, ladies and gentlemen, today we open the doors wide and invite you into something truly close to our hearts. The heart of homeopathy, study, practice, and purpose.
This is not just an episode, it's a chance to sit with the people shaping homeopathic education and practice around the world. A chance to hear what homeopathy feels like from the inside, its challenges, its joys, its purpose, and its future.
So whether you're curious about studying homeopathy, wondering what real practice actually looks like, or simply wanting to understand this healing art more deeply, this live event is most certainly for you.
We are honored to be partnering with the internationally respected School of Homeopathy, with Homeopathy in Practice, and of course, with you all, our global community of listeners, to bring you an afternoon of connection, learning, and inspiration. I would also like to introduce Laura and Sandra. They are part of our dream team. We could have not done anything without them. We are delighted to welcome the core team of the School of Homeopathy, Mani Noland, Luke Nerland, Karen Leadbeater, and Janet Taylor. And of course, the two of us, Naila and Atiq, co-founders of Homeopathy in Practice and your hosts here on the Homeopathy Health Show. Mani Noland is the principal of the School of Homeopathy and the eldest son of Misha Noland, raised in a world of homeopathy, and now leads the school with vision, dedication, and a deep love for the profession. Mani oversees the school's operations from curriculum and student clinics to branding, marketing, and student support, and also leads the School of Health. A founding member of the Homeopathy Course Providers Forum and for Homeopathy, he has played a key role in promoting homeopathy across the UK.
Wonderful. And now Luke Noland. Woohoo! Now Luke grew up immersed in the School of Homeopathy and practices internationally from the southwest of England. He is also the author of Animalia and creator of the thematic repertory, contributing extensively to provings and new remedies. He has a background as a classical musician, and Luke blends repertory, materia medica, provings, and systems into a thoughtful, integrative approach to find the true simillimum.
Karen graduated from the School of Homeopathy in 1998 and has remained an active mentor, supervisor, and lecturer ever since, with a long-established practice that began in Bath and later moved to Dartmoor. She supports students on both attendance and international programs with a particular passion for casework and clinical development. And I know firsthand how supportive she is, how loving and caring she is.
And last but certainly not least, ladies and gentlemen, Janet Taylor is a graduate of the School of Homeopathy and practices in Plymouth and Cornwall. She is a tutor, clinical supervisor, and educator, and she brings together her background in teaching with a deep homeopathic training. Her prescribing draws on a rich blend of approaches, including 3 years of the sensation method study, allowing her to support clients and students with insight and confidence.
And she gives the best hugs ever. Together, we are going to explore what it's really like to study homeopathy online or in person, and how a student becomes a confident, compassionate practitioner. This isn't a presentation, it's a conversation, open, honest, and real. A space to explore the heart of homeopathy in study, practice, and purpose. This here is the heart of homeopathy.
So we'd like to very much move over to you, Manny. So the school is so recognized around the world, and certainly when Naila and myself, we meet, so many homeopaths as part of the Homeopathy Health Show, and of course, homeopathy in practice. And whenever we mention the school, somebody always comes with a connection, be it through the charismatic Misha Norland, or having studied at the school, having met yourself, Luke, or any of the tutors, and certainly from within the UK, but also internationally. Whenever we talk about the School of Homeopathy, it's so well respected, and it's just wonderful. It's so beautiful. So, it would be nice if you could just sort of introduce the school and the runnings, and really talk about, this beauty of homeopathy, certainly that you've grown up with.
Thank you, Atiq. Well, it's lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting us onto the show and for allowing us to open our doors in this way. It's great to have the core team here, the management team for the School of Homeopathy that help with the everyday running of the school. And yes, I mean, we're lucky. We are well known. We are international, and we are building off my dad's hard work and good, strong reputation. He started the school in 1981 in Devon, many years ago, and he started it because he was a great teacher. And the students asked him if he would start a school. So that is the best place to start a school from at a request like that. And he's went on and developed this school and been igniting and firing minds for many decades ever since. And the school really grew because he developed the distance learning program as well as the attendance course. And he quickly saw that he wanted to be able to spread the teaching further and developed a year one practitioner course that then grew into the 3-4 year course that it is now. And got the best of the teachers together that we have at the school. We're very lucky. We have this amazing faculty, in attendance faculty, 15 teachers coming together to teach the course, but also all these inspiring international teachers that add into the curriculum and allow themselves very generously to be filmed and to give materials to the school and the program. So they really, all that diverse and unique teaching skills and all that passion and commitment really comes together and shines through the course and the training with the school. And so Luke and I are kind of standing on Misha's shoulders, but also really ensuring that kind of warmth and family feel and that kind of nurturing continues within the school. And I think, as for homeopathy itself, it's such an amazing subject to learn. It's inspiring, it's life-changing, it's a journey, and I think really that's what we pride ourselves at the School of Homeopathy is teaching people to become homeopaths, but actually teaching people to know themselves and to walk that path, so that they have greater self-awareness and a greater understanding of life on planet Earth and how to be at one, and to live with nature and be happy and content, and to go out with this craft of homeopathy and help others. And that is such a special gift to give. And that's really what my father was able to do, and what we are continuing with here, internationally with students in over 100 countries. So I hope that, as an introduction, starts to give a bit of a feel.
Actually, I would just like to pick up on what you just said near the end, because it's so beautiful. It was actually almost poetic, that homeopathy is not just an art. Once you've studied, you've left the science, and then you become the artist, like we all do. And we paint our own portraits, right? But it's so much to do with life, isn't it? It's about that true self-development. And it really is true self-development. What are our strengths? Who am I? Who are we? What are we here for? What's our purpose? How do we live in harmony? You know, as it may sound, but more and more people we find, certainly in recent years, are now understanding the importance of being at peace, being at one. And one of the reasons of being at peace is to understand the beauty of nature. And nature's free, right? It's a gift. And what does nature give us? It gives us homeopathy. So it's very beautiful what you've just said.
Yeah, it's a lifelong journey, and it's a life-changing journey. And I think, you know, studying to be a homeopath is a gift to yourself, as well as your family and friends and your community. So you know, it really is a special thing to do, as well as, you know, a possible change of career or whatever your reason is, you know, your main driver. But that is a truly lovely thing. And then just listening to all these inspiring people, you know, that homeopaths are just it's a lovely group of people to be with. You know, I didn't used to work in homeopathy before. I was in another sector that was really lovely, full of artists and designers. But homeopaths and the healing sector and natural medicine, it's a great area to work in. It's full of lovely people that want to help others. And so it's got that kind of warm embrace and that hug. And that's very much why I liked the Heart of Homeopathy title, you know, not just for the school, but, you know, for the community as well.
That's so beautifully said. Homeopaths are lovely people. They actually are. And how we during when we are studying, how we explore ourselves as well is so important. And I feel like whilst I was studying, I have tried to understand what actually humankind is, who are we as humans, and then we can go back, connect with ourselves. And when we connect with ourselves, we can connect with everyone and everything around us. Picking up on that, I would like to ask Luke how it is. What do you notice when people come for interviews, and you have this great philosophical background, and you come from music? How is it for you? What do you do for school? And yeah, what inspired you to become a homeopath as well?
Yeah, thank you, Naila and Atiq and Manny, for setting the foundations so well for this conversation. And for me, like, storytelling is really important, and I want to tell a story about, you know, how I got involved in the School of Homeopathy. And that goes back quite far, obviously, because I was born into the family with a homeopath as a dad. And, you know, homeopaths may be lovely people, but they're often misunderstood and, you know, kind of marginalized. And you have that experience as a child, of being the different one who lives in the big house where they do weird things on the weekend, you know. So that there's that element to it. And then I remember when I left home and started studying music, it's a very competitive world, classical music. It's you need very high standards. And I developed like a physical problem that I thought, oh, you know, it'll just go away. And I was very unaccustomed to going to see a doctor about a problem because, you know, my dad would prescribe remedies for all of us when we were growing up. And because you're young, you take it for granted. But, you know, I had warts as a child that were cured with homeopathy, with the remedy pulsatilla. And at this point in my life, when I was 18, 19, I had another remedy that eventually, you know, I plucked up the courage to talk to my dad about my problem that was very embarrassing. And a remedy solved the problem. And that being that age made me realize, you know, there's a great power to what he did in his profession. And then he took us on holiday to India, and suddenly everyone respected him, and they said, "Oh, you're a doctor. Come to my house and treat my uncle." And so we went to all these different houses and different families, and Misha was, you know, the homeopath. And, you know, so I think as I grew older, I got more interested in especially psychology, and through astrology really was the first thing I got interested in. And that having a broad spectrum of interests, especially in esoteric subjects, can come into your training with homeopathy. It's one of the things I really liked about it, is that if you're of a creative mindset, it's a wonderful thing to study, because you can draw upon your existing reservoir of knowledge and experience. And even if you're of a more scientific orientation, you'll appreciate the rigor that goes into homeopathic, not just the philosophy set out by Hahnemann, but the way that it's practiced and the way that we gather data, and all of that. So it's one of those subjects that really unites both hemispheres of the brain, and all sorts of people, even though it is an incredibly Marmite thing. And you'll certainly meet some people who are very against and very in favor of homeopathy. And for me, it doesn't really matter. You make your own decision. So it's wonderful meeting new people and welcoming them into the fellowship of healers, of people who who want to listen and want to help others. And part of the holding of that space in year one is about allowing all of the different people to shine and to learn from them, as well as teach them about homeopathy, because we've all come from different backgrounds and experiences. And so and also there's part of the process I really enjoy is the unfurling of what people were used to in education, because this sort of education is not strict. There aren't rules. You aren't expected to answer the questions in set ways. You're invited to explore them and think about them deeply. That was something that Misha was passionate about, was to open you up, to open up your mind. And that's very much what the questions are about and what the course is about. So
that's again so eloquently said. And I'd like to pick up actually on this on the musical side. You've mentioned your background as a musician, and I remember Colin Griffith being on the show talking to myself and Naila, and he was talking about how he was also used to compose classical music, as we know. And he said, now that when I look at my patients, I look at them as a symphony with the highs and lows. You've got the constitution, you've got the miasmatic influence possibly, and you've got, the peaks and troughs of the pathological side of it, and he's looking for the simillimum. He's looking at the harmonics. And that's the beauty, isn't it, of homeopathy? Because when we go out and we practice as homeopaths, as healers, as helpers, as therapists, it's very much about this whole individualization. And this individualization is different to all of us as practitioners. We may go one way or we may go another, but that's how creative and how expandable and how modern and how progressive homeopathy is, right? As an art, it is truly an art, and it's just, for those listening in, of course, this is the beauty of homeopathy. It doesn't matter what background any of us are coming from. When it's time, you will find this path, and you'll find that you can help so many people, which actually takes me on to Janet. And welcome. It's the first few years of homeopathy, be it at the School of Homeopathy or wherever one practices, are very, very key, just like going to school, isn't it? So it's really groundwork. And I know that the School of Homeopathy works very, very hard on this, as far as the studies that are concerned, self-reflection. We spoke earlier about, Manny and Luke mentioned about, self-development as well. So do tell us a bit more about, those early years at the school.
Yeah, so I think thank you for inviting us. And so those first, I'm the year head who oversees years 1 and year 2, and those early years are very much about as grounding yourself in the principles of homeopathy, and just really building up those foundational skills, so that by the time you come into year 3, you can start to go out and start taking your own cases with a supervisor there on board to help you. And as other people have said, it really is a journey. And, you know, just yesterday I've been marking the very first assignment in year one for new students. And obviously people are coming not having studied for a really long time. You know, some people are coming, they haven't studied, or they, you know, schooling for them was difficult. Maybe it left them, somebody talked in their assignment about, you know, the fact that their schooling had left scars for them. You know, often schooling is quite didactic in its style, it doesn't suit everybody. So I think, you know, as in year one, we are, as well as addressing the homeopathy, you know, just helping people to start to revalue their ability to learn, their ability to understand, their ability to research, their ability to express what they're learning. Is a real joy to see people beginning to revalue their own ability to learn. And what a lot of what we're teaching is about skills teaching. You know, it's there's you know, a considerable amount of knowledge, but we're really teaching people to form the skills that they're going to need to be a good homeopath, and that's really core to what we do. I hope that answers what your question.
Thank you, Janet. I know how it is when we are uncertain. What is next? How are we supposed to answer those questions? Because it's just not one side of your brain. Both sides of your brain can be activated. You can think differently. You can go in and ask the questions yourself. It's like very stimulating year, the year one, where we are coming from a very different world and entering another spiritual kind of journey, a journey of search and research, researching yourself, as well as learning the remedies, the materia medica, the old literature written in different English, maybe a different language altogether, learning repertory language, where Luke is doing an amazing job in creating helpful tools to help new beginners study it efficiently, easily, and become masters in themselves. I feel that the school, as a graduate, I feel school supports those students really well. And we all see after 1 year of studying a shift in ourselves as humans. We start seeing us differently. We might be in a different bubble where we can step back, step outside of ourselves, and actually see how we are reacting in various situations, which is really, really important as a homeopath if we can do that. Going to you, Karen, because you give us those legs where we are going to stand now as practitioners, helping us in our clinical studies. Business comes as well, because we have in UK we have to have some business knowledge and skills, and then we have to set ourselves in practice, advanced studies. How do we keep on studying and increasing our knowledge? Please do share your wisdom with us.
Thank you, Naila. The first thing I want to pick up, if I may, is from what others have been saying about what it's like to study homeopathy, and especially at the School of Homeopathy. And I always remember something that a colleague of mine said many years ago when asked, what is it like to study homeopathy? And she said, it's fantastic because it's like going to university, but the subject is you. So it's endlessly fascinating because it's a deep dive in what it means to be human in all its myriad forms. And that really struck me as true in certainly my experience, and others who I've taught and spoken to is very much like that. And moving on to what you were saying, Naila, about the experience in year 3 and 4. So year 3 at the school is where things start to get real, because it's the point at which we start applying theory to practice and begin seeing our own clients. And the support for that at the school is through different avenues. So one-to-one with a supervisor, where you begin to take on your own clients in a very safe and held environment where you have support one-to-one, but then also classroom teaching time on clinical skills, on discussion of how to become an effective and skilled prescriber, and also via tutorials. So they have in year 3 and 4 regular tutorials with me as the year head for those 2 years. And so the idea is that gradually, step by step, over those 2 years of study, the part of the training that is about becoming an effective prescriber and being able to build your own homeopathic practice, is those skills are gradually built. And also, just to pick up on, Naila, your question about the business side of things, you know, for many people, they come to the point of thinking, okay, I'm ready, I'm going to set up my practice. They come with tremendous passion and clinical skills, but not necessarily the business and marketing side of things. And so part of what we support with at the school is to pick up on the areas that help someone build a successful and sustainable practice, to pick up in all 3 areas, not only clinical skill and passion, but also business and how to run a business and how to market your practice. Because we might have the skill and the passion and the knowledge and the ability to help people, but we need to know how best to shine our light so that the people that we can individually help can find us. And so that needs to happen too. And so part of what we do in year 3 and year 4 is to support our students in all of those areas so that they can move towards building a practice that's sustainable and that's effective and successful.
Wonderful. It's it's so nice to see that, and I know that you know, this is the framework for studying homeopathy. And you know, Janet, you touched upon how the first few years are so key, aren't they, to the foundation and to self-development, getting to grips, trying to understand all the texts. I know Naila mentioned some of the old texts, you know, and the the older style of English, let's say, you know. We were talking about 67 earlier, I think, wasn't it? Anyway, no comment. So the older style of text and how things are working. And then when you move into year 3 and 4, it's very much about becoming independent and, you know, thinking for yourself. And then there's all the clinical experience. So how do you see that, Janet? How do you see that transition? If you can share some, just your own sort of sentiments or emotions on how that transition happens, because it's very fluid, isn't it? It just sort of molds into.
It is very fluid. And you know, when you're sitting there in year 1 as a new student, it can seem really daunting that 2 years down the line, you're going to be actually being a practitioner. But I think one of the things that the school is very good at is holding people's hands as they walk that journey and walk that path, so that it's a very gradual transition. So we start by learning some of the, you know, the founding philosophy of homeopathy, and then some of the principles of how to analyze and those sorts of things, gradually walking people through it. Then we start in terms of taking cases. The first cases that the students look at will be in year 1, and they'll just be paper cases, quite simple cases that they're given a transcript, a brief transcript of a case, and they have to look at that, and they're taught how to analyze it in detail. And then, you know, so those paper cases then in year 2 become video cases where they're watching live cases where another homeopath has taken the case. So they're watching it and so we're building very gradually. We also try and do a lot of sort of practical group worky type stuff, like working in triads, which is in groups of 3, where people get the opportunity to sort of practice some of those skills on their fellow students. And so just very gradually that transition is made, so that I think for most people, by the time they reach year 3, they're feeling ready. And that big jump into taking your own cases doesn't seem such a huge such a huge jump as it did, when you first started studying. And even then you've got a supervisor who's going to hold your hand through that experience as you progress. And we in the School of Homeopathy, we see people for students have to see 10 different patients at least 3 times each, and throughout that they've got a supervisor working with them. So there's a lot of hand holding, and I think that's really nice, because I think as homeopaths, what we do with our patients is that we hold our patients' hands as they heal themselves. So, this is about people's own development, and we're just there to walk the path with them because it's their journey. So whether we're doing that as a practitioner or whether we're doing that as an educator, that same principle really applies, that we're just helping people along their journey.
This is really, really, really important what you have said. We are holding hands. As students, our tutors are holding our hands. As practitioners, we are holding hands of our patients, because it's their journey, what they're going to get. It's their journey, how they are going to live it afterwards. I remember from my student time after year 2, when I had my tutorial with you, how uncertain I was. I felt I have forgotten everything, and I'm going into year 3, but I know nothing. I don't think I am ready for year 3. And how you held my hand and told me, this is not only you who feels like this. It's that transitional phase where everyone feels a bit uncertain. Are they ready to take the jump? And you assured me you are more than ready. Take that jump. And the first quarter of year 3, Karen, I remember I was walking with you and I was telling you, I don't think I can do it. I'm not getting the remedy right in this one short case. How am I going to do it then? And then you said, it's not your patient. Your patient will be the patient you are going to get a remedy to. It's how you are going to take the case. It's how you are going to hold their hand. That is important. And I didn't look back after that. I feel so happy that I chose the school, because I felt I couldn't be a practitioner that I am today without the help and the support that I got from all of you, like from Mani, Luke, Karen, Janet, and all the other tutors. They are there. They are open. They want to share. All you need to do is just ask. No one is ever going to say, oh, wait a minute, I have something else to do. They'll say, okay, I'll do this thing later. Let me help you first. That's the feeling we get it from there.
It's like a family, isn't it? We're like your parents that will never leave you alone.
Absolutely.
Once you're in, you're never really flying the nest.
Yeah, no. Karen, I wanted to ask you, what do you see as you see them from year 1 onwards to year 4, the shift that you see? Can you say it in words? It's difficult, but maybe you can for our listeners.
That's not an easy question.
I know it is not.
I guess it's something, what comes to mind is it's something about, the fundamental principle of homeopathy is like cures like, and it's the same when it comes to identifying one's own uniqueness as a homeopath, as a practitioner. And the more we go along the path towards being a homeopath, the more we, if you like, we are able to identify and articulate what it is that makes us uniquely ourselves. And the more we can achieve that and put it out in the world, It's the same. It's the same as our fundamental healing principle. It's about becoming the unique homeopath that you're meant to be. And I hear people talk about this where they say, I kind of don't recognize myself. I've come such a long way in the time I've been studying that it's a beautiful process. That's all I can say.
Loved it.
It's not, not without its challenges, of course, but that's the point, that we come through a process to become the homeopath we're meant to be.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Mm.
We're going to come back to you, Luke, and then Manny, and then the floor is open, Naila, I believe, for a question and answer session. Yes, if people have questions, you can, of course, happily unmute and ask, or you can just send them through to chat as well. It doesn't end there, does it, Luke? Because there is some profound wisdom with some of the technologies that homeopaths now, the new graduates certainly, and even seasoned practitioners like all of us have at our fingertips, from semantic searches to practice partners to software such as Radar Opus, for repertorization, and it makes life so easy, doesn't it? So it's not like there you go and off goes the ship. It's like, well, there you go, but these are all the tools that you're going to take with you should you encounter any problems.
Yeah. In reality, the 4 years is the start of the rite of passage, and then becoming a homeopath sort of changes in myriad ways, like your life changes as well. And I think I'm going to deviate a bit from the question, but one of the things that prepared me for becoming a father was finishing the homeopathy course and feeling like, okay, I now have the tools that my parents had to help raise me. And I felt that was really empowering. And one of the things about homeopathy is how empowering it is, that you can, when something comes along like a shock and an illness, a febrile illness or something for a child with that shock, you've got tools to, you don't panic. You think, what are the symptoms here? What am I looking at? And you have remedies you can try. And if one doesn't work, you can try another one. And you learn through that process of trial and error. And because you form such strong bonds and friendships at the school, and because of this retreat setting that we have it in, especially if you attend, but even if you don't attend, we have regular ways of connecting. We become a tribe and we look after each other and we offer support. And that process of supervision and help continues. So that's an important part of how the school continues to be a part of your life afterwards. And homeopathy is a very intriguing subject because it never really stands still. There's always progression. And, one of the things I often say to the first years is you probably didn't expect that homeopathy has this other side to it, which is embedded with the development of technology. Like homeopaths have been at the forefront of developing technology ever since it started. Like the first repertory, which is an index of symptoms, was created by homeopathy. The idea of like looking at disease as being acute and chronic was Hahnemann who did that. People weren't doing that before. So it's very inventive. And in the 80s, there was like the Mac and the PC development of repertories and software, which before that people had their fingers jammed into books trying to, cross-reference different pages of these massive book of symptoms, and now you've got it on your phone, or you can talk to an AI and it can, as long as it's trained properly, it can help. So homeopathy doesn't stand still. You don't have to either. You continue to grow and you continue to bring your individuality to it. I think that's for me that's makes it just, it will never get boring and you'll probably never want to retire. And it means that you do get to learn a lot about the human condition and help a lot of people. So very, very satisfying work.
Yeah, absolutely. agree to that, because I feel homeopaths are really forward-thinking people, and homeopathy is the medicine of future. Anyway, we are already in future. Everyone has to catch up, find out how it works. That's your job, not our job. We are just going to help people. We're just going to make them feel better. And as you and as Mani, you have come from a very different background to homeopathy. Mani, you have seen so many students becoming practitioners. They wanted to be those well-established practitioners, satisfied practitioners. Can you share something that that comes to your mind when you think about your journey since you've started homeopathy?
Of course, yeah. I mean, it makes me immensely proud to think of all of the graduates that have come through the school from around the world and have gone into practice, and especially to see how many of them have become leading homeopaths in their own right, you know, making great contributions to the profession in all sorts of different areas. It's absolutely wonderful to see, and I think it's a testament to the course. I mean, we've talked a lot about the sort of complexity of becoming a homeopath, but also the sort of simplicity of it. It's a kind of conundrum, really. But I want to reassure listeners that the course is incredibly well structured, and it takes you through everything step by step, starting with the basic principles and then the simple materia medica and learning how to use the repertory, the book and the computer programs that Luke have just been showing you, all the way through, you know, like Janet and Karen were explaining, with the clinical observation, watching homeopaths take cases, to then yourself actually taking cases under supervision. And I can assure you that by the time you get to the end of the course, you are a competent and confident homeopath, and you're ready to go out there and roll your sleeves up. And in fact, you know, by the end of year 4, the students are itching to graduate. They feel so ready to get out there, and that's just what we want to see. You know, we don't want to see people feeling timid and not sure what to do. We want our students and graduates to be feeling like they're ready to help people. And so that is extremely rewarding, and I think that does show that why the course is so successful. You know, what my father's written, what we've then gone on developed, you know, integrating all those different teachers I spoke about, and that rich resource of learning in this very simple structured way really helps. So you're kind of taken through the material module by module, step by step, and then at the end of each module there are assignment questions, which, you know, are really good fun to do. You know, the idea of assignments, people think, oh no, I don't want to go back to school, but it's not school, because you're adult. It's an adult education. You're learning something that you want to do and that you're passionate about it. So the excitement comes from doing the assignments. You know, they're fun, and they're kind of putting down on paper what you've enjoyed learning, and then you get full written feedback from the tutors at the school about how you're doing, and that's really encouraging and really rewarding as well. So it's a fun process to go through. And you know, one of the things that I've really brought to the school is really developing the online learning system, really developing the curriculum and the structure, making sure everything's clearly written down and easy to follow. You know, I come from a background of visual communication and business strategy, and so that's my passion, is to make things easy for people to understand and to communicate in a way that makes it digestible and fun. And so, and I love working with all these different teachers and recording and filming them, and then giving that into the course, you know, gifting that extra videos and extra material into the course. So it's always kind of fresh and exciting. And another important thing of being an international school, of course, is having international accreditation. So we're the only school in the world that is accredited in the UK, in Canada, America, Australia, and this is hot off the press, but we've just been accredited in New Zealand. I haven't actually done the press release yet. So we're now fully recognized in all the main English speaking countries. And it's a lot of work and it's expensive to do that, but it really shows the depth and quality of the school and gives our international students reassurance that they're going to be able to join registers. And even if we're not accredited in your country, there's usually paths to the registers because we are accredited in so many other places. And so that's really something that helps to kind of give the school another unique edge, but really shows that all of this is grounded in rigor and quality and assurance, so that students know when they're picking our program, not only are we the world's leading school, but we're also the world's leading accredited school. So you've got that kind of quality assurance from all those different outside bodies as well.
Oh, so wonderfully, so nicely said, because we do want to have a quality education when it comes to homeopathy education that grounds us, that teaches us the real principles of homeopathy. And I have to say the course is really well laid out. I loved those assignments. Like, you can ask me to do them again, and I am going to do them again. They're so nice, so wonderful. You are never thinking about you're doing an assignment. It's like you are doing research all around you. I have a few patients of mine that have gone to study homeopathy after seeing me. This is the power of homeopathy, what it does to people. And everyone asks me about assignments because we all have this thing with being assessed. And this is totally different with the School of Homeopathy. So very well laid out. Thank you, Mani, for doing that. I can see there are a few questions in the chat. If you want to go to that, like for international students, like we know UK, yes, they can go to the school and can be interviewed. But for international students, what are the requirements to be accepted into the school?
A desire to learn. I mean, we say that ideally you're in your 20s, and ideally you've done some kind of secondary education. But actually, if you're passionate and you feel ready, then there can be exceptions to those rules as well. So if you're interested in joining and you're worried about the entry requirements, then just get in touch with us and tell us a bit about your story and why you would like to join, and then we can see what we can do. The main thing, of course, is to have the passion and the desire to study homeopathy, and then of course to have some time to do the study. If you want to complete a year of our course within a year, then we recommend that you need 14 to 16 hours a week to do the study as a kind of minimum. On the distance learning programs, there is more flexibility because you're kind of studying at your own pace from home. On the attendance course, it's more important to keep up with the program because you don't want to slip a year and have to join another year group. But yeah, just if you're thinking about joining, then just get in touch, of course.
Can I jump in there and add something to that? I think, of course, beyond what Mani's saying about the basic requirements, one of the beautiful things about studying homeopathy is that we find that everyone brings to the study their prior life experience, prior work experience, and all of what each individual brings enriches their understanding of homeopathy, because studying homeopathy is really about studying the whole of humanity. So whatever your life experience is, we can guarantee that it will inform your study of homeopathy as well.
Wonderful. It's there are many questions. We are sort of opening the floor up. I think, Naila, if we open this up.
Yes,
so
if you have any
if
questions,
you wish to unmute, please ask your question directly to the panel of homeopaths. So just press unmute and you have this opportunity to ask.
Yeah, just taking it on from what Mani and Karen said about studying homeopathy. It's actually, I've noticed in our group, we were all coming from different backgrounds, and that gives the flavor to the study group as well. like you understand the remedy from their perspective. If, for example, someone is coming from has done a traditional Chinese medicine, they'll tell you something else. And there was a doctor in our group, a cancer nurse, so she could tell us how and which organs, on which way this remedy is going to work in a organ system, basically. So anything and everything that you can bring will help you shine to be the best practitioner you can be. As Mani said, bring yourself and some passion and some love for homeopathy, and everything will be the world will be yours, homeopathic world.
Yeah, they say the world will be your oyster, but here the world will be your homeopathy. That didn't rhyme at all, did it? Anyway, well, there you go. That's the Homeopathy Health Show. There you go. And those of you that missed it, well, do tune in to the other episodes as well. It's if anybody has any questions, please do unmute and ask. We do have one just come in here. I have done BHMS from India. How can you help me setting up my practice in Australia?
So you
Okay.
could apply to join our course as an advanced entry student, which means you would have to complete years 3 and 4 with us. However, those are the sensation and system years, so you would be learning something new, I think, that you hadn't learnt on your course in India, which would hopefully be of interest and exciting for you. And then you would receive the advanced practitioner's diploma from the school, because we would recognise your prior learning and qualification from India. Our course in Australia is Arrow accredited, so you would then be able to join Arrow and the AHA, which is the main register of homeopathy in Australia. So if you want to get in touch with the school at info@soh.uk, and then you can put attention for Manny, or you can just ask your question and one of the team will help, or they'll pass it to me to help. Then more than happy to continue that conversation with you about practicing in Australia. No problem at all.
And also for those interested to find out more, Manny, the school website for those who can visit online.
Yeah, so that is homeopathyschool.com.
Nice and easy, homeopathyschool.com. It's we are coming to the end of this very special episode of the Homeopathy Health Show, and it really has been an absolute delight. And thank you for the questions. Thank you. Actually, I'll leave the thank you to Naila for the panel, but certainly it's been an opportunity for everybody here just to learn about what the requirements, I suppose, are. And to be honest, there are no requirements. Just heart has to be in the right place. Heart of homeopathy, right? With focus, a bit of work, of course. Got to have something to achieve. But then, it's just like, even if you can heal one person in your lifetime, and it can make a profound difference. As some of the practitioners here, we've seen cases which were written off sometimes, just as far as treatment is concerned, and they've responded so beautifully to homeopathy. And Luke earlier mentioned about how homeopathy can help at home. It's a life changer. You can save you save time, you save money, you save anxiety and the worry, and you become empowered, right, Naila? Because next time, if the child has a fever or a flu, you know exactly what to do, and it's a no-brainer, and it's like there's no panic. That is the greatest sort of blessing, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you for being part of our journey, for being part of my journey, from my heart, from the heart of homeopathy. And my heart is filled with the love of homeopathy now. I feel like I love, live, breathe homeopathy, and it might have not been the same if I didn't attend the School of Homeopathy. I have to say, I have researched for 3-4 months, looked here, looked there, and just again, my heart was going towards this school. There was something about it that was asking me, no, you have to go there. I studied 1 year online. It was correspondence a year, and then even though my kids were younger, I said, no, I am going to go do it in attendance. And it was a life-changing experience, and I have to say who I am now as a practitioner, where I am now. It's all because of you, beautiful, lovely people. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing what the school is, how it can help other people become the homeopath they want to be, and follow their journey. Thank you for coming. Thank you everyone for joining. It has been a pleasure to have you join us. If you want to know more about the school, the website is there. If you want to know more about what we do, please share our podcast far and wide. It's the voice of homeopathy, the Homeopathy Health Show, and homeopathyinpractice.co.uk. That is something that we have started now for practitioners. If anyone is a practitioner here and wants to learn more from different teachers from around the world, or just want to connect with us in our in-clinic sessions, do join us. It was a pleasure. This 1 hour, I don't know where the hour went whenever we are talking about homeopathy. Thank you.
Thank you to everybody, and it's been a true honor.
Thanks. Bye.
I do hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of the Homeopathy Health Show. Tune in every week for inspiring conversations, bringing you all things health and well-being to your radio and podcast apps.
The more exposure the Homeopathy Health Show receives, the better for homeopathy around the world.
And please do support the show by clicking follow on our socials.
You can find us at www.homeopathyinpractice.co.uk and on Facebook and Instagram at Homeopathy in Practice. Do give us a follow on there. Let's promote the voice of homeopathy around the world together. Until next time, stay safe and take care.